Hi everyone, as we start to get a couple more subscribers, I thought it's important that we talk about who we are and what we do because we are definitely a niche market. We're never going to be one of the big guns in the area of paranormal and crypto, but it's important that you know quickly why we exist. And thank you to those people who have subscribed. So, firstly, the reason we exist is, I think, as Jeremy Corbell said, not to bring to you a narrative so you can create a framework, but to enter into whatever research is going on and to be one of the only voices that ask, just maybe consider this one perspective of this from a perspective of Judeo-Christian biblical history, to filter it perhaps through things that theologians and people who have been participating, in particular the rite of exorcism and things like that, for millennia, have come to conclusions on. It's just kind of like adding, if you've got a toolkit, if you've got a tool belt, this is just adding another tool to that, so that when you want to make decisions about what's going on or try and filter the manifestations of it, that at least you have considered that perhaps this is one of the alternatives. We also exist to disclose. So as the UFO disclosures were coming up, which is not something we have a lot of experience in at all, but we also have information that may need to be disclosed that we've been told over the years. And the reason we do that is not to debunk people. It's not to cause them angst because we're sharing stuff that is confidential. It's because if we don't tell the truth and the whole truth, then narratives that are presented on shows and narratives that are presented on websites where the people presenting them know the other stories that go with it and they're not telling them, that is dishonest. And I don't think anyone's being dishonest for the sake of being dishonest. I think people are doing it to protect their interests and the interests of their benefactors and basically those that are their patrons. And the third thing is that we want to minister. So it's a ministry. We want to minister through prayer. We want to minister through deliverance. We have people we have access to in the Christian communities that can do all sorts of incredible works of ministry, from feeding the poor to the casting out of demons and unclean spirits. So that's why we exist. And we exist to support other research groups. Sorry about the sun. To support other research groups. We're not here to debunk anyone. We're not here to talk badly about anyone. And hopefully they're not here to talk badly about us. We're here to support the amazing work that people that spend all their lives doing this deserve. So why are we back? We were around from about 2007 to 2011, 2012 on CCPASG on Blogspot. And we've got, I think, hundreds of articles on there, and we did some really good work. Two of our members, I'm just going to flick this around so the sun doesn't forget us. Two of our, just one sec. That's better. Two of our team, one lost interest. She was a really, really key part of what we did because she felt like she was becoming very anxious and was almost questioning her faith. Fair enough. And the other person became so obsessed with the paranormal that it was unhealthy. And I didn't want to do this on my own anymore. And so, unfortunately, one of them passed away from opioid abuse, which is, we'll talk about that a bit later in another video, but just what happens when if you're a Christian, you walk away from your faith in God to pursue this sort of stuff. We've got a younger team now, so we came back into this because younger people, teenagers, young adults, said, what you used to say and what you used to talk about was so interesting, can you please bring it back? So we've asked them to co-design this with us, which is why we're on TikTok and everything like that. And the videos will get better, just simply because they're better at it than I am. Our credibility, well, our credibility comes from what we do and what we have done. Personally, I have managed a chain of pharmacies. I did manage a chain of pharmacies and was a retail operations manager, was a general manager, was a marketing manager, was a purchasing officer for a chain of pharmacies that is really big now. I won't name who they are, but they're massive. And essentially I started the retail side of that and ran it for 15 years. I left and became an associate pastor. I did that for 5 years. And then I went and became a youth pastor for 2 years. I worked for Harley Davidson very quickly, and then became a community development officer, a case manager for young people. During that time, I've always had a contract sporting role with one of Australia's 3 biggest sporting bodies. So I've got a national role with them. We also have done. I am the president of a motorcycle club, of a chapter of a club it's a patch club that's been running for 50 years. That also is true. And currently, I still work for one of Australia's largest sporting bodies. I teach in high schools. I teach religion in high schools, and I run 5 outposts of emergency relief for another NGO, and basically manage community development projects, including development of not-for-profit tattoo parlours and things like that. So that's part of what I do. Who have I worked with? Over the years, lots of different people, but I have worked very closely with 2 of the largest crypto organisations on earth, and I think they're both very good. And I never say anything disparaging about them, and I never try and debunk them. The only thing I encourage them to do is the same thing I encourage everyone to do, and that is don't allow narcissism to come into what you do. Don't build communities that are cult-like. Just do the research. It belongs to everyone. It's almost, I say to researchers, if you build a website, if you build a database, it's for the generations. Nobody wrote the scriptures and said, that belongs to me. Well, no, they did it for a purpose, and it was as a gift to the world. The artisans that built the Ark of the Covenant didn't say, look what we did, this belongs to us. No, that was given over to the Israelites for the use of God's glory. And that's what I think about research. I think it belongs to everybody, and if we have to whack our name on it and own it and then compete against other researchers, then we're creating schisms and all sorts of problems. I'm certainly not an expert in any field. I have had personal lived experience of seeing spirits, seeing orbs, a couple of encounters with the hairy man, no matter what continent you live on, what you call that, and particularly around deliverance ministry, have had probably a lot more experience than a lot of clergy would have had around the manifestations of demonic stuff and things that can't be explained. And I mean things where you're physically seeing stuff that is not possible with witnesses. It's not natural and it's not normal. So there has to be a supernatural element to it. And I've always seen that Jesus Christ has full authority over those situations every time. I think that's about it. So thank you for subscribing. We're gonna get better, but we're not interested particularly in getting to the forefront of anything. We'll do a lot of recommendations of other pages on TikTok, which we'll share here. So as soon as we see something that we think is really interesting for you guys, we'll post it here. I think we had 127 or something like that hits of the Jeremy Corbell thing yesterday, which is good for our page. So people are watching stuff and then hopefully go and visit. Now, one thing I will say is a couple of researchers wrote stuff that agreed with the conclusions I'd already come to. One was Nick Redfern, and his book Final Events was fantastic. If you ever get a chance to read Final Events, please do. Get on Kindle or what's it called, Audible, or buy the book on Amazon. And the other one is Dr. Michael Heiser. So conclusions I'd come to in ministry, which weren't well supported by the church or people didn't want to talk about, in regards to the Nephilim, in regards to what are actually demons, what are the what are some of the things in the heavens. He's an unbelievable scholar, and the work he did just dovetailed with stuff. The conclusions I'd come to when I saw what he'd done, I thought, wow, someone's actually done the scholarly work on this. And the conclusions that I've come to are backed by some scholarly work. So anything Dr. Michael Heiser does, including consultation on things like the Bible Project, I really encourage people, go look at the Dr. Michael Heiser pages on YouTube, go to his page, look at his interviews, go to the Bible Project, watch all the stuff that he's consulted on. And that's kind of our recommendation. So that's a little bit about who we are. Good to meet you if you're one of our subscribers. We will do intermittent content. We don't sort of sit around and think about what can we put up, but as we encounter real stories that nobody else has got, we'll put them up here. As we find research that's been put up, we'll share it on TikTok, and then we'll share it on here, and then you go and look at it. So we're going to, big part of what we do is we're going to redirect you from our site to other pages where the experts are doing all the hard work so you can be informed. God bless. Jesus loves you. We love you. And have a wonderful day. Bye.